Tactical session 1 is looking at fast break. This is being able to score from a fast break. Fast break is receiving a rebound from a defensive play, working up the court quickly to score with an attacking play. Warm up is suicide runs. Suicide runs is a change in pace and distance, much like the change in pace in a basketball match. This is a pulse raiser, therefore getting participants ready for the rest of the session. In addition, it is linked to the game that they are preparing for. Activity 1 is replicating a fast break situation. This is uncontested, therefore participants get used to playing the fast break and how the whole system works. Activity 2 is putting in an opposition. This means that participants now have to still do the fast break but work around their opposition. This means that players have to think about their fast break and technical abilities a little bit more. Activity 3 is a 3-on-3. This is a game scenario, putting players in this game scenario. Same rules as a normal game of basketball, however it is just 3 players. Each team will get 1 point for any basket made and 2 points if a fast break is used. This encourages players to use the fast break looked previously during the session. Cooldown is one player leading the cooldown and the rest of the group listening. This develops one player's leadership skills and also the team's ability to listen to one person. In addition, it also works on teamwork as everybody's working as one whole group. Tactical session 2 is man-to-man marking. This is being able to man-to-man mark attacking and defensively. Man-to-man marking is choosing a player and sticking with that player the whole way through the game. Warm-up is follow the leader. This is in pairs, one person will follow another person in changing the way that they move, for example walking or running, in addition following the dynamic stretches or stretches that they do whilst following, for example lunges. This gets performers used to sticking with one player and copying them through for a period of time, just like man-to-man marking. Activity 1 is a game scenario where players must choose a man and stick with them their whole way. This is a defensive scenario, getting players used to an opposition attacking and them having to stick to that player. Activity 2 is the same drill, however roles are reversed. So this time players are attacking, choosing to stick with the player in order to allow attacking opportunities to come up. Activity 3 is again a 3-on-3 situation. This is where they are in a game scenario, just like the real game of basketball. Before the game starts, each player must choose a person to stick with or mark. The coach will give points to whoever is marking man-to-man the best. Cooldown is again one person leading the cooldown. This again is better for leadership. Also increases teamwork and productivity. Tactical session 3 is attacking using the screenplay. The aim of the session is to perform a screen to make an attacking chance or shot or pass. A screen is where a fellow teammate blocks an opposition in order for you to run around that opposition, make a pass or make a shot. Warm-up is just passing and shooting drill. This gets players used to shooting, which will be used later on in the session. In addition, it is also a pulse raiser, getting them warm for the rest of the session. Activity 1. This is where we introduce the screen. First of all, it is just 3 players, with each player having 1 movement. Player 1 will set the screen on the opposition. Player 2 will make a run around that screen to the basket. This is very, very simple. It allows the performers and participants to get used to setting a screen without having any other distractions. In addition, having very little moves, they don't have to think about much. Activity 2 is the same drill, however we are going to add a pass in. This means that players will have to think a little bit more about what they are doing rather than just a simple screen and run. This time it is now screen, run, pass and shot. Activity 3 again is a 3-on-3 situation. This is putting players in a game situation looking to use that screenplay within a game. 1 point for scoring normally, 2 points for using a screen in an attacking play, and 3 points for using the screen, pass and a basket being scored. This encourages people to use the screen whilst playing, which is at the end of the day the goal of the session. Cooldown again is one player leading the group. This again improves the leadership of that player, also works on the teamwork also improves the teamwork of the team. Technical session 1 is passing, most importantly the chest pass. Aim of this session is to be able to chest pass successfully, also look at different ways of passing. Warm up is suicides. This is because it is a vary in pace and distance, just like a basketball game, running to and from the court, quickly, slowly, etc. Activity 1, this is in pairs facing each other, passing, just chest passing. This allows me to pick up on incorrect technique and correct it to improve the chest pass and make the players a better passer in general. Activity 2 is a drill of passing and moving. This means that players have to focus on moving into space and the passer has to look for players moving into that space. This means that players have to think a little bit more rather than just about chest passing in a straight line. Activity 3 is the possession game. This is where players will be in a box, passing between each other, trying to keep the ball. Players will get a point for each pass successfully made and 5 points if that pass is a chest pass. This encourages players to do the chest pass as they get more points, which means they could win. Cooldown is just dynamic stretches and stretches led by me or another coach. This will decrease the chance of injury because we are cooling down the muscles. Technical session 2 is shooting under the basket. Most importantly, the layup. Aim of the session is to lay up correctly. Warm up is again suicides. This is because it's vary in pace and distance, just like in a basketball game, running from a defensive position to attack quickly and slowly. Activity 1 is just layup lines. This is where left lane will lay up and the right lane will get the rebound. This allows me to look for incorrect technique and correct it, making the layups better, improving player performance. Activity 2 is the same, however it is a contested layup. This means that players have to think about getting around an opposition before shooting, making them think about the game and aspect of shooting a little bit more. Activity 3 is a 3-on-3. Same rules as normal basketball, however they only get 1 point for a basket made and 2 points for a layup made. This encourages players to use a layup as they get more points, meaning they will win. In addition, putting it in a game situation means more pressure on the player, which could possibly mean more mistakes because they are put under pressure. This means that they can improve on their game scenario and gameplay through this activity. Cooldown is dynamic stretching in a circle led by me or another coach. This quickly cools down players, reducing the chance of injury. Technical session 3 is shooting out of the key, so outside of the 2/3 feet from the basket. Most importantly, the jump shot. Aim is to be able to jump shot correctly by the end of the session. Warm up is a 3-man weave. This is a passing and moving drill from one end of the court to the other. This gets players used to passing at long distances, also moving long distances in order to cause a attacking play or even to get out of a defensive position. Activity 1 is just inner line shooting at the basket. This allows me to look for incorrect technique and correct it in order to make a jump shot better, therefore improving player performance as their technique is getting better. Activity 2 is shooting from different areas around the basket. This means that players get used to shooting from different areas, making them a better shooter in general. In addition, it also means that I can talk them through where to aim from different areas in order to score. For example, from position 1, aiming in the top right corner of the box of the backboard in order to get it into the hoop. Activity 3 is again another 3-on-3. This is looking at a game scenario. However, they only get 1 point for any basket made and 2 points made for a basket outside of the key. This encourages encourages participants to shoot from outside of the key in order to gain more points to win the game. In addition, more pressure is put on them because it's put into a game scenario, therefore making them a better player and in turn better in a game. Cooldown is a dynamic stretch circle. This is just as a group cooling down together quickly in order to reduce the chance of injury.